Not yet.
That's working.
Okay.
Have a good meeting.
Thanks a lot, Jake. Okay. Together here and we're online. It's 6:30, so I'll call this meeting of the Brookfield Planning Board to order. We're recording this on audio equipment to facilitate the creation of minutes. I just have each of you say your name so that you can be identified on the recording.
Steve Carmen.
Chris Gorman.
John Santucci.
And Kevin Arcola. Okay. Hi. Thank you. All right. First item of business on the agenda is review of minutes. We have minutes from February 7, 2024. That's an old set. And January 7, 2026.
You have April, you have February 4th.
I don't have February.
So I didn't.
Oh, great. Okay, and we have February 26 as well. So there's over. And then you use that.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, Kevin, Ron Barron just joined
Oh, great.
from CMRPC.
Hey, Ron, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How's
Okay,
everyone?
good. Great, great. So we're just starting off here. The public hearing doesn't start until 7:15, so we're just going to review some minutes from previous meetings and see if they need to be amended at all. The meeting of February 7, 2024 was not written up previously because this was the meeting that I wasn't at because I was having eye surgery the first time. And the recording equipment that was being used failed somehow. So there was no recorded record of it. But I kind of pieced together who was there as far as the members of the committee go, I think. I need to find out, though, if there was anybody else present, like representatives from the Cronin Solar project. Were they there physically or virtually or anything? Do you remember, Chris? I assume you were cheering.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know some days they didn't show,
Yeah.
but to remember which one that's way past my spectrum.
Yes. Okay, you don't happen to remember, do you, Lisa? No. Okay. All
I
right.
would not be good in court.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just, just eliminate the also present thing because we don't have any record of that. Any questions about this? Does anything seem out of line as far as you recall? And the correspondence was pretty straightforward. That was actually listed. If there are no corrections suggested or anything like that, I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the February 7, 2024 minutes as presented.
Is there a second? Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of acceptance of these minutes, please signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
John, I.
And Kevin, I. Okay, good. Thank you. That brings us to the minutes of this previous January 7, 2026. Anybody have any corrections on that? Have you all had a chance to review those at all? No, take a look.
Get it to load.
Oh, I have a couple things here.
Yeah. Okay. Has anybody else seen a copy?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
good.
that one and, the February 4th one wouldn't vote for me either. When I did it. Kind of odd.
Oh, sorry.
See if it does it now. So it did. I might have just been my service outside.
Um, any comments on the January 2026 minutes?
I just have in the first two that it should be Jennifer Santucci seconded the motion. Oh, where?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Oh, first page? Yeah, the first two motion. Seconded.
Dead.
And one minute below the two.
Second.
Yep.
I have a couple things on page 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth paragraph down, short paragraph. Rather than saying with referencing a developer, how about with reference to a developer? Starts with Kevin Erkola. And then the next to the last paragraph on the page, it starts with Steve Carmen asks about penalties. I listened to the recording and I think Steve that said this falls to the zoning enforcement officer. So Yeah, so I said, after special permit conditions, noting that this falls to the zoning enforcement officer. And then I added in the sentence afterwards, which is what I said, as I pointed out that the bond has to be tied to some physical requirement. It can't just be punitive. So I've got all these written out in red here,
He has
so.
the writing.
And then on page 3, there's a cut and paste error, I think. You have, let's see, what is it? Where it says Board of Health complaint or response, it should be the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office findings, RE open meeting law complaint from 6/22/2025.
Okay.
Because the Board of Health thing comes later.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got.
Yeah, I have two things. The very top, the minutes title section, it has the incorrect year. It says 2025, should be 2026.
Is that?
It's right here on the title. It says 2025. It's, yeah, January, does it,
No.
Oh, this says 2025. This one says 2026.
Yeah,
What did it
I say 2026.
all right,
Okay, all right.
it's just my copy.
You get the first draft.
Scratch that copy.
And there was one other thing, it might just be mine.
say? Pass. You passed, have, Steve.
On page 3, the review expenditure report,
Yep.
the spelling of Lori's name,
Oh, that's another one, yeah, that I marked. So,
Did you mark it? Okay.
yeah, so just cross her name and take out the
Oh.
parentheses and put the town account.
yeah, that sounds good.
One more thing on page 4, adjournment. It says Jennifer Santucci seconded,
Ed.
period,
Yeah,
seconded the motion.
Oh, okay,
There's just like a.
Yeah. This,
all right, so we'll mark that off.
there's two. Ah. And I'm gonna change it.
Yeah.
This is what happens when people are running in and out of your office all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if there are no other changes, I'll entertain a motion to accept these minutes as corrected.
I'll make a motion to accept the January 7th, 2026 meeting minutes as amended.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
John, I.
And Kevin, I. All right, that brings us to February 4th, 2026 meeting minutes. Are you here for the public hearing? Okay, would you sign in, please?
Sure.
Any corrections to the February 2026 minutes?
I just have the same note of having seconded
Mhm.
Yep.
throughout, and then on the last page at the adjournment, I have two N's in Jen instead of just the one.
Oh, yeah, on the first page, on the second paragraph under amending the town zoning bylaw for battery energy storage systems. The second paragraph, second line, zoning bylaws is November 30, 2026. Then,
Oh, okay.
and then two lines below that, involving all permitting boards so that an applicant need only submit once. It's either needs to or need. Anything else?
I just have a comment that I still owe the board. Those amendments for the zoning bylaws regarding special permit performance standards and so forth. I'll get to it.
Okay, no rush. I mean, we'll manage. Sure. Okay, well, if there are no further changes, I'll entertain a motion to accept the corrected minutes of our meeting of February 4, 2026.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes, February 4th, 2026 as amended.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jen, I.
And Kevin, I.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see, it's now 6:48. So we are ready to declare open the public hearing for the amendment to the town's zoning bylaw for a temporary moratorium on the permitting of battery energy storage systems. Let me read the notice of this meeting as it was published in the Spencer New Leader. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 5, and the provisions of the Brookfield zoning bylaws, Section 13D, Brookfield Planning Board will hold a public hearing on proposed amendments to the Town of Brookfield zoning bylaw concerning a temporary moratorium on permitting battery energy storage systems. The hearing will take place on Wednesday, April 8, 2026, in the banquet hall of Brookfield Town Hall, 6 Central Street, Brookfield, Massachusetts, starting at 6:45 p.m. or as soon thereafter as can be heard. Meeting details and agenda will be posted at www.mytowngovernment.org/1506. A copy of the proposed amendments may be inspected at the office of the town clerk at Brookfield Town Hall during normal business hours. So that was properly noticed and posted. So that part of the requirements has been met. The actual text of the proposed bylaw change is this. Temporary moratorium on permitting of standalone and co-located battery energy storage systems. While the town recognizes an act promoting a clean energy grid, advancing equity and protecting ratepayers, parenthesis, the 2024 Climate Act, close parenthesis, the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources has only recently promulgated final regulations governing battery energy storage systems, a land use not presently addressed by this bylaw. Since such regulations must be known and duly considered in order to effectively evaluate and establish local zoning regulations for such a novel and evolving use in regard to public health, safety, and welfare, this temporary moratorium is hereby established. For purposes of this section, a battery energy storage system, parenthesis, capital BESS, close parenthesis, is one or more devices assembled together capable of storing energy in order to supply and to distribute electrical energy at a future time, including any standalone / principal such use of land. A system co-located with an existing or proposed electrical generation facility or substation, and any accessory system, parenthesis, supporting a non-BESS principal use, close parenthesis, having an aggregate energy capacity of 250 kilowatt hours or more. Excluded from this definition is any large, parenthesis, 100 megawatt hour capacity or more, close parenthesis, BESS, solely under the jurisdiction of the Commonwealth's Energy Facilities Siting Board, as specified by the Act and its regulations. In any zoning district, a battery energy storage system is a prohibited use. This moratorium shall remain effective until and through November 30, 2026, or such time prior when zoning regulations superseding any provision of this section are duly adopted. Now that is, I was required to present an article for the annual town meeting already, so that is what I put in the article for the ATM. Doesn't mean that if we want to change something, we can't do that at the town meeting from the floor and just make amendments to that if we feel it's necessary. And even since I wrote this, there have been some changes. I went to the Citizen Planner Training Collective annual conference last month on March 21, and this was one of the topics that they had battery energy storage systems as part of the Clean Energy Act. And one of the things that I learned in passing was that the regulations, which are still technically in draft form, will go live on July 1. And then the towns have until October 1st to offer the new pathway that the regulations stipulate for approval of these installations, these battery energy storage systems. So, but the date of November 30 will give us approximately 5 months, wherein we can write up the necessary change to the bylaws and submit it, and hopefully there'll be a special town meeting in the fall that can consider it. If not, fear not, because according to the state, it is not necessary to actually put this in your bylaw because the state law is going to supersede it. However, having it in the bylaw makes it a whole lot easier for us and for any applicants and for the whole process, because it does become a little more difficult where they're allowing local permitting only for the lower energy end of the battery energy storage system spectrum. As I said in this piece, anything of 100 megawatt hours or more is an application that goes directly to the Energy Facility Siting Board and doesn't. Well, we get input, but the EFSB has the main control over that. So, any questions about this so far? Well, I guess at this point then, the board members have nothing, no questions here. I'll open the public comment part of this public hearing at 6:56 PM. And sir, since you're the only one here, would you please state your name and give us your questions or comments?
Oh, could he come up so we can?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. You guys as well.
So you're, how you guys doing?
Hello. Oh, that's loud. Yeah, okay, I gotta give it a little distance. It's not one of those stage mics. Gotcha. Yeah, my name's Owen Kramer. I live here in town. This is interesting to me. That was a good description. I think that essentially the reason why I'm here is I'm aware of a number of rulings from the state's attorney general on very similar moratoriums. As recently as this month and in the previous months past in the prior year, or, you know, a matter of months previously, which were essentially ruled that they could not be upheld. The reason being that unless you have a very specific justification for why this bylaw change is going to protect, you know, public health in this particular case as it relates to this topic of solar and related energy. And so I'm not sure that it's necessarily that useful or prudent as compared to just putting our time towards revising the bylaw to be what we would like it to be as it relates to the draft regulations. I think for the town, it could potentially attract undue attention from the Attorney General to establish such a moratorium, which will then have to be rolled down. They'll have their eye on any future bylaw that you try to propose. I don't know that it's necessarily the best use of time, just given the track record, which for now is basically something like 4 or 5 separate moratoriums struck down in the past 2 months. I mean, this is what they're worried about. They have their clean energy goals for the state. I've seen it, paid attention to it. I understand wanting to edit the bylaws so that we have some level of control over the class of battery energy storage projects that are going to be at least jurisdictional to the board here. But honestly, I think that having a moratorium specifically is the sort of thing that won't hold up even for the term of the moratorium. So I guess the point in doing is to create maybe the month or two before it's struck down. But as far as I'm aware, that doesn't go into effect until the AG has actually approved it anyway. So you'd effectively be, you know, passing a vote to most likely, the track record has shown, do absolutely nothing, when we could potentially be taking this meeting, for example, to discuss what the actual amendments to any given bylaw should be on the exact grounds that they'd have to be on anyway to stand, which is why a moratorium probably won't stand in my opinion. And that's just what I've observed in the law and in the course of the state's rulings. And if you listen to Mara Healy, who's setting the whole agenda, solar, 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 clean energy, clean energy, clean energy, build, build, build. So her AG is going to do exactly what she wants, which is going to be to turn down this moratorium and make it not a thing as fast as they can legally do it, AKA before it goes into effect. That's my opinion on the matter. I think certainly there are other types of things that could be done to restrict this sort of thing, or even just to make sure that it's done in a responsible manner. I don't want to say restrict. I don't know what your intents are, your reasons for being in the board. I haven't watched you operate. But that seems to me to be the most productive thing, and that this sort of moratorium, for all of the work to patch it into law, will not get there, in my opinion, even if it intends as well as possible, just from what I've seen. These sorts of news stories are kind of niche, they're kind of hard to find. But if you look at them, I think you'll see, yeah, okay, we're going to pass this, but what about next? It doesn't go into effect until it gets through the state. And the state in general, I mean, the whole idea of, okay, the biggest BESS is going to be the thing that the state rules on. I mean, the biggest deal to the town, that's what they'll take. And we'll take the smaller ones. I think it's in many ways designed to incentivize a less decentralized system wherein if someone wants to propose a project in Brookfield, do they not have the incentive, if this board is in some ways, or even historically, has one news article written about it, to be seen as anti-BSSS? Do they not have the incentive to now propose the biggest possible thing and have it go before the state board, which I'm going to be honest with you, they may have plenty of experience, they may have plenty of resources, but they're probably going to be more permissive than all of you. Because at the end of the day, they don't care about Brookfield. They probably don't know where it is on some level. and they don't have the interests of the community at heart. They have the interests of my boss, Mara Healy, says we need to build this much solar. And when solar goes in, the battery storage has to go in. So get this done. And that's how that's going to go. So if we create the perception that the town is against these developments by declaring a full moratorium, you will find that when developers come to develop in the town, which will inevitably happen and is in many ways a good thing, when they do that, they will propose projects that buck your jurisdiction entirely, which will be bigger, they'll be more impactful, you will not have much of a say. And that's how I think that's going to go. So I think it is in the town's best interest, above and beyond just our use of time, to avoid that process and to instead take the months between now and when these new regulations go into effect to think very carefully about what aspects of this specifically can we design into our bylaws to create the outcomes we wish for.
I appreciate your well thought out comments here. Let me assure you that we are doing these things in parallel too, so that we've already begun work on the battery energy storage system addition to the bylaws at the same time. You know, we had previous experience with a moratorium on marijuana, medical marijuana establishments. That's going back to 2012. And, you know, that was upheld because it was of a short duration. And it actually took the state a few months to get back to us. So from a practical standpoint, just having this in limbo gives us the opportunity to say, well, it's under consideration by the state now. So we will get some time before we have to actually accept applications for these systems. But now don't misinterpret the moratorium as something that we intend to say to developers, we don't want these at all, because there are some places where it may be useful to have them, and some places where you wouldn't want to have them.
Certainly.
You know, we have permitted currently one small, that's an 8-module unit on a piece of property on South Maple Street, just as you're coming into town, next to some storage lockers. And but it's permitted. It's been permitted since 2019. The applicant hasn't been able to begin any work on it yet because National Grid hasn't given them the go-ahead because they don't have the infrastructure to support it. So, you know, overall, this could be a low priority issue in this area, but we want to make sure that we cover it somehow anyway, and doing the moratorium. Well, that is quick to write. It's written. It's been submitted for the annual town meeting. That part is done. All that really matters is to explain it to the audience at the town meeting and hear what they have to say and take a vote on it. And for this particular type of well, not this one. This would take a 2/3 majority of those present voting. If we're voting on the actual battery energy storage system bylaw amendment, that would only take a majority of those, because that's another aspect of the Clean Energy Act that changed that specifically for this kind of application.
Wasn't this provided to us from the state saying that we could do this till November 30th? Wasn't that how this got brought up? Was the state?
I saw that there were a number of places that were doing this, and this was actually modeled on the moratorium change from Westfield.
It was just a short time moratorium. It's not even I think it's more just to allow the state to get their ducks in a row, just so we don't have somebody trying to slip in until that time.
Might make a point of another thing that came up at the CPTC conference that I went to, was that there is in the regulations a provision for scoring an application based on its impacts on the environment and the community where it's located and all that. There are 5 different categories that we score them on. They don't even have the tool for that ready yet. And it's supposed to go live on the internet on July 1st. So, from a practical standpoint, there's some pieces of the puzzle still missing on the state level. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think I articulated any potential downsides, but I understand the thinking. It's not crazy.
I totally agree with your
Yeah.
downsides too.
Yeah.
It's you'll get an article that now developers will watch for the end of, essentially.
Yeah.
And in any case, you don't have, a slew of applications. This isn't Blandford.
Yeah.
So you may just end up attracting unwanted attention while you accomplish what you want to do anyway with less votes.
And as I said, the infrastructure still doesn't exist.
No,
So-
it's not going in one way or another in that period of time, but there's something to be said about the approval timeline as it relates to permit applications going in and then what they're judged under.
Yeah,
You guys seem to understand it well.
In fact, tonight on the agenda, we have a meeting with Mr. Barron from the CMRPC, who's going to discuss with us how he can help us craft these bylaw changes for battery energy storage systems.
Yeah, our power grid wasn't even able to carry the solar farm that's in our town.
Wow.
They had to go through Warren.
Yeah.
That's how,
I think they're
unfortunately,
redoing the lines around here,
they could,
like this
but
year, starting this year, next 5 years.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan through Brookfield National Grid.
Mhm.
Whole transmission lines getting changed from, I don't know, where to Rhode Island.
Even the big installation that they have going in Oakham is only possible because the high tension wires were right there.
Mhm.
And they have to actually build a substation to go along with it. Yeah. Ron, did you have anything to say that you want to say about this?
Good evening. Thank you. For the record, my name is Ron Barron. I'm the manager of land use and zoning with the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. So I had not heard about the BES moratoriums, any of them being disapproved. However, I did look it up while the gentleman was speaking. And I did see that there was at least one from Blandford, which was disallowed by the Attorney General's office. It was a blanket moratorium for, I didn't see how long it was because I was reading it rather quickly. But it was for planning purposes. So I'm not sure, he may be correct that the Attorney General's office may not approve a moratorium for battery storage at this time.
Okay. So we'll see. Well, failing any other additional comment from the room, if there's nothing else that you'd like to say, sir, and I will then close the public hearing, the public comment part of this public hearing at 7:10 p.m. I thank you for your comments again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
oh yeah,
Yeah. All right. So, any further discussion?
I think there were valid points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still like us to get the state to do their job before. And for us to wait until, because if anybody files before the state, at least gives us that buffer where they can't. But if they file now, then, and we don't have it in, I think it would be not advantageous for us.
Yeah, file as far as the moratorium goes.
Yeah, if we file a moratorium, at least we're covered per se for our aspect, whether it gets voted down or not. I just rather have that in till November, until the state gets their ducks in a row, and then,
Yeah,
you know, it's just a temporary. I think that's a
yeah.
good stoppage,
Mhm.
especially when we already have one approved.
Yeah.
I can't see somebody else wanting to come in and National Grid giving them one over the guy that's already been approved,
Mhm.
which he already had his ducks in a row per se.
Yeah.
Even though I did vote it down.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, I recognize your valid reasoning
Yeah.
on that too. Okay, then I will entertain a motion to, approve the language for this temporary moratorium and, present it and the presentation to the, annual town meeting for consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary moratorium on permitting of standalone and co-located battery energy storage systems as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying your name and time.
Kevin, before we do the vote, can we open it for discussion?
I'd ask for discussion.
Okay, but now you have a motion. Typically, after you have a motion in a second, there's a
Oh,
window to
okay,
have
okay.
discussion.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you think it would be worthwhile to assess the other moratoriums? Like there was a reference to one which may have been dismissed by the Attorney General,
Aye.
to see if there's any wording that we want to account for. Like in reading this, it seems like the intention is clear that this is just a moratorium for the state and for our own zoning regulations to catch up to the appropriate provisions.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that if there's anything else that needs to make that intention clear, that we can capture that.
Yeah.
And whether we need to do that now, or can we do that on the town floor when it comes to the annual town
If-
meeting?
If, yeah, if we would feel that we need to change anything, we can do it at the town meeting.
Okay,
That's not a problem. And I did look through examples of other ones, including Blandford. And I tried to make this as narrow as possible so that it wouldn't seem like it was going to be a total prohibition for all time on it, or an open-ended, let's put it that way, an open-ended prohibition on these things that you know, it might seem more realistic or reasonable to the state if we're keeping the timeline shorter.
okay.
But yeah, sure. If we find anything, we can always make a motion to change something when we present it on the town meeting floor, rather.
Right, we got 2 months before then, so
Yeah.
we have some time.
Yeah, because this, we can't change now anyways. for
Right.
the- For the town meeting until the floor.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other? No? All right, then I think we're probably ready to vote. So all those in favor of the motion?
Did we get a second?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
Sorry.
Yep. Please signify by saying your name and time.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jen, I.
And Kevin, I. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Since Mr. Barron is online with us, I would like a motion to take agenda items out of order so that we could take him next.
Yeah, I'll take a motion to make a motion to put Ron Barron's or to take items out of order from the agenda.
All right, is there a second? Okay, motion is made and seconded to take agenda items out of order. All those in favor, please signify by saying your name and time.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jen, I.
Lisa.
And Kevin, I. Okay, Ron, welcome.
Well, hello again. Nice to see everyone. Again, for the record, my name is Ron Barron, land use manager for, manager of land use and zoning for CMRPC. very excited to be able to meet with you all today. I wanted tonight just to go over very quickly what it is that we are proposing to do, or actually what we are currently doing for a number of towns. What we are, what we could provide in terms of deliverables and assistance to your community, if you so desire, and what our time frame is for doing it, and etc. I was going to go through what we have learned so far about the permitting process. It sounds like you all are pretty up to speed on how the changes to the permitting process are going to go through. But I'll go through it really quickly. I'll kind of do a truncated version of it just so everybody understands what we're talking about here. So first, I just wanted to say that what the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission is doing with various communities. We received funding from the District Local Technical Assistance, or the DLTA program, which is a state-funded program that is available to RPAs to provide technical assistance to our member communities. We got a grant of DLTA funds to do a couple of things, and we're providing guidance to communities on what the changes to the permitting process in the state law is. We're trying to do as much of the research as possible so that you don't have to. But it looks like you guys have been doing quite a bit of it yourselves already. We are also offering to review solar bylaws of communities in order to be sure there is nothing that conflicts with the Dover amendments or any of the changes that the new permitting process is about to bring. And we're also providing recommendations for crafting BES bylaws. We are working with a number of towns. We're working with Holden, New Braintree, about 4 other communities right now to do this. We've been going through the process of reviewing all of their bylaws. What I've been doing is I do a review, I provide comments to the planning board, and get your feedback. Based on that feedback, I can draw up some changes if you'd like, and you can take that through town meeting. As far as timing for this goes, the funding we have is good through the end of this calendar year. So that means we have a lot of time to be able to do this. It'll coincide with the rollout of this new permitting process that the state is implementing. And it will allow us to have some flexibility to really dig in and review these things. We also have additional funding that the state is providing. We haven't gotten it yet, but we are in the process of seeing what we can get in terms of additional funds to do some regional meetings that we are going to host. We have 2 scheduled in the end of May and the beginning of June, to try to bring the state reps into a regional dialogue with our community members to make sure that if there are any questions you all have, we can get them answered as quickly as possible. And we make sure that this transition is as seamless as it possibly can be. And just so you know, I just always like to state that our main objective is to help you navigate what the state is trying to do, not the other way around. We're interested in making sure that if you have questions, you have concerns, we're getting those answered so that it is as simple and as seamless as it can be for our member communities. As you know, in 2024, the climate law was passed. The main takeaways is that it reclassified what is a small and a large energy facility. Everything that is below 25 megawatts of nameplate capacity is still something that is governed under local jurisdiction. Everything above that is now under the jurisdiction of the state Energy Facilities Siting Board. And it's also applies to storage. Anything that is below 100 megawatt hours of storage is still locally permitted and still subject to zoning regulations. Anything above that is permitted by the EFSB. The main thing that I got from, I was also at the citizen planner training collaborative.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, CPTC. I was also at that conference. And one good thing that I got out of that is there's been some confusion about what still applies in terms of local regulation, especially when it comes to things that are now being permitted by the EFSB. And what I've been told is that the good news is that your local zoning still applies in all cases, including the large scale solar, those larger ones. The only difference is that anything that goes through the EFSB, they can apply for a waiver from your zoning regulations, and the EFSB can grant it. They don't have to go through the standard process of getting a variance from the ZBA, but it's only for that one little, well, it's for the larger scale ones. The DOER was suggesting that it's a very small fraction of the number of permits that they see. I think they cited a number of about 4% of all permits fall into this above 25 megawatts or above 100 megawatts of megawatt hours of capacity for storage. I have not seen any data that backs that up, but I'm going by what they're saying with that. So the upshot is there aren't any specific changes that have to happen to your zoning bylaw necessarily. The regulations you have in place are still ones that are going to have to be responded to no matter who the applicant is getting their permit from. That being said, there are still things in a lot of town solar bylaws that are not consistent with the changes to the chapter 48 section 3, which limits the ability of zoning to overregulate or prohibit solar and also battery storage. A lot of these things had been in place for a really long time, and they've just never been an issue. We are getting a sense that with this new permitting process, it may come up again. There may be more challenges that come from this if there are inconsistencies with your bylaw. So that's something that we are offering to look at, to review and make sure that so for instance, the courts have held that while you can have special permit required for certain districts, prohibiting it in certain districts isn't necessarily allowed anymore. So there are sections in your bylaw, for instance, where the village center, for instance, there's no solar level that is currently allowed. That could potentially raise flags. So that's the kind of thing that we would look at and try to bring to your attention, and you would be able to decide whether or not you want to make those changes.
Mhm.
The additional side of this that we're helping to provide guidance for to communities is the new consolidated permitting process. That is the part of this that is going to take place, that's going to take effect on July 1st. And this is the one where if an applicant decides they want to do the consolidated permitting process and they are going either at the local, it's either less than 25 megawatts or, even if it is with the EFSB, this new consolidated permitting process, the real change that it provides is that it creates a new timeline through which the community has to issue a decision. So once you get an application, they go through, they use all of the state tools. They use the site suitability tool that's going to be launched in July. They use their guidance for producing the the various mitigations. They produce documents related to their emergency management plan. They do all of these new requirements that the state has put into place. They have to go through all that, provide that to you. Once you've accepted that it is a complete application, from that point on, there are 12 months that there's a 12-month clock that starts ticking for the board to render a decision. So, and if the board doesn't make a decision within that 12-month period, then there is a constructive approval process similar to how Chapter 40B works, where it's essentially it can be deemed approved because no decision was made in the 12-month period. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And while we're at that point too, there is an option for the applicant to pursue what's called a consolidated permit. Can you talk a little bit about that? You're muted.
Didn't realize I muted myself there. No, that is what I was referring to with the new timeline that goes into place. So that's that consolidated permitting process. So again, everything below 25 megawatts of nameplate capacity, that still goes through the town. Whoever issues the permit, if it's the planning board is the permitting authority, if you require the Board of Health to look at it, if you require your Conservation Commission, whoever you now require permits from in order for them to build a solar facility, you still have to get all those approvals. But there is now just one decision that ends up being made for the permit, and there is a 12-month window in which that decision has to be made.
Right. And my understanding is that if any of those boards issue a negative decision on the project, the permit is turned down.
That is, see, my understanding is that's not necessarily automatic, but you would take that into consideration.
It could be appealed to the EFSB.
Yeah. And that was the other piece I was going to get to, is if any of the boards or if the town does decide to deny the permit, there's a new appeal process that goes through the EFSB. So they can take it directly to the state rather than taking it through the normal appeals channels. So.
Okay. I have been working a bit on the battery energy storage system amendment to the zoning bylaw using the model zoning bylaw that's available online. Do you have any comments about that document?
So it is I think it will be a very useful document. The one caveat that I have is that it still is not the final version. As you may recall at the CPTC meeting, they suggested that the final version was going to be released within a couple of weeks from that meeting. As of this morning, it still is the old version, and the nearest guidance the most recent guidance we had is that it will be released sometimes this spring. That being said, I'm not sure exactly what will change between the version from October and the one that they release. It's just that I want people to be cognizant that there is a new version that's going to be coming out. So if it's possible to hold off to see what the new version is before finalizing the bylaw, I highly recommend it.
Okay, yeah. I think that given the scope of the considerations in the bylaw for this purpose, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon anyway, from our standpoint.
Kevin, one quick question.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the battery energy storage, would it be advantageous to put I know he said we shouldn't do this, but would it be advantageous to put in there, no, not in rural, residential and village? In that, to make it more specific, so it's not so broad-based over the whole town.
Mhm.
And if we did that, knowing 3/4 or, 5/6 of our town is those two projects, two areas,
Yeah,
that would kind of, it would, and at least would give us a basis of why, because, public health, we don't want it in obviously rural residential or village, because village is so tight.
yeah.
My house is 50 feet wide. My
And
house
you're
is,
right on the wall.
my house is 35 feet wide, so that's 7 feet on each side.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's, I know we said that the opposite, but sometimes the opposite is true in my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. I think, that the important points are that whatever provisions you put in the local bylaw can't conflict with the provisions of the Dover Amendment. So we can, under the Dover Amendment, we can require certain changes to make the proposed installation more safe, more safe from a health, public health standpoint, traffic safety standpoint, that sort of thing. But a complete prohibition on it in some areas may not be, if I gather what you're saying, Ron, may not be able to fly.
Yeah, so that's what that's the guidance that we've been getting. But I would say that that doesn't mean that the town isn't able to put minimum lot size restrictions. So if you put a minimum lot size restriction that was above what you are likely to have in the village center, you could effectively prohibit it without saying you're prohibiting it. Provided that it's not so large that you've just effectively banned it entirely in town, because that would be disallowed. But,
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it everywhere. It's just that you can't. Yeah, we're being told that in the use table specifically, we should either be saying site plan review, special permit, were the main two options, or just by right are the only really ways that you can use that. But you can put in other requirements that would preclude it from being effective in these districts with smaller lot sizes.
Now, Ron, when you say by right, special permit or special use, is that for everything or just solar and battery energy storage that you're being guided this way?
So it's primarily solar and battery storage. One of the things that we're still a little fuzzy on is the climate law specifically addresses solar, wind, and anaerobic digestion. It doesn't look at water or like hydropower or other renewable sources. It just looks at those three. So it's a little unclear how the state is going to approach that, because the Dover Amendment doesn't address those other two. So it only talks specifically about solar. It doesn't talk about wind and anaerobic digestion the way that the climate law does. So I believe that the restriction that we're talking about here only applies to solar, but we have to confirm that.
Okay. All right.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Because we have floodplains everywhere. And you're gonna say now you're special permit in a floodplain?
Yeah. Well, I think as far as the floodplain goes, there are certain safety considerations there too. The interconnection of electrical equipment and that sort of stuff, plus the potential for contamination.
But it's still by special permit? That's what he's referencing, is that
Well,
even in a floodplain, we
in-
have to
Yeah, I know that, I know the use table that's in the model bylaw doesn't have a floodplain section on it. It has residential and commercial and industrial sections. It doesn't include a floodplain uh type of district. So that's, if it's mainly a wet area where the groundwater level is too high to allow construction of most anything anyway, I don't see how we could allow this if we're not allowing any other things. It's not,
So I
it's not us. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, if I may, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
Apologize. I was just going to say that um one of the I think one of the ways this is going to get potentially addressed is when the state releases its tool for the site suitability scoring. Um, what we have seen in other state initiatives recently is that they will automatically flag areas that are sensitive wetlands, that are known floodplains, that are, key farming soils, things like that. And either remove them from consideration or make them um, give them a worse score than other parts of other places where it could be cited. And my understanding is that the site suitability score that they're going to be the site suitability tool that they're going to be giving is going to assess every proposal. It will give every proposal a site suitability score, and then that will be able to be factored into your decision whether or not to accept the permit. So let's say in your flood zones, you made it a special permit, then it's still a discretionary review process. So if they come back and you look at the site suitability score and it doesn't support being able to either mitigate or build something there, then that would be grounds for denial. But having said that, I haven't seen the tool and I haven't
Yeah.
seen the data that goes into the tool. So I can't speak for 100% and say that that is the way it's going to be. I just know that there's been other projects we've worked on where they've taken those things into consideration and just taken them off the table right away. Like I was thinking the MBTA law, they did that. They basically took all the floodplains out of it. But again, I haven't seen it, so it's possible that it may be included as part of that site suitability process that they are implementing this year.
Okay.
They should exclude farmland
Mm.
because that's the biggest tragedy is putting solar on farmland.
Mm.
If every home doesn't have free solar, you shouldn't be putting on farmland. But you were mentioning that our use table doesn't have floodplain?
No, the use table in the model bylaw that's produced by the state.
Okay,
That's
but he was referencing our use table, talking about changing our use table because we can't have stuff saying no.
Right.
It needs to be,
right. Well,
so that was
so
my
this is
question.
something, okay, so this is something that we have to look at.
Yeah, that was just my question. Like, I don't wanna put a special permit next to a floodplain.
I
That's
know.
just, cause next thing you know, we'll have wind farms all the way up Quabog River.
Yeah, I was particularly dismayed that they didn't have more information on the site suitability scores at the CPDC conference. Yeah, they assign a number to a particular category, 1 to 5, and the higher score that it all adds up to makes it less desirable.
Did they give you any like rough ideas of what some of the parameters would be, like slope of the land? Like the higher the slope of the land, the more it should be a 5 for use of, for solar, I would think. What they not
Yeah,
really?
not that, but they did mention things as Ron did, like
Okay.
Farmland, forested land. They're discouraging clear cutting forests, which is good. That kind of thing. And as he mentioned too, anaerobic digestion and wind are in the act, but they're not extensive property uses. Really, I mean, the windmills can be large, but they don't take up a whole lot of ground area. to operate.
No, but if you've ever been to St. Bernadette's, I think it is, it's the old, I forget the old school
I've
name.
been to Quinsigamond Community College.
Yeah, and have you ever stand under it?
Yeah,
It's pretty freaky.
yeah, it is.
It's not
What's-
normal.
What's so freaky is you come around the corner on the street there and there it is.
Well,
looks like it's gonna
but the
be
color
freaky.
of the woof, woof, and then you see that light just change.
Mhm.
And I can't think of the school. I think it's St. Bernadette's in Central Mass somewhere. Harvard might be, it might be in Harvard. And you stand near it and the spinning of the blades can definitely throw you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
We
So
only
I
have
just-
one. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I was just
No,
gonna say, I just wanted to clarify again that the section that I was referring to of Mass General Law that would affect your use table,
Mhm.
that language does only state solar. And it specifically says solar. It doesn't use the same language as this law. The one, I'm just making it clear that because this new law is in effect, I can't 100% say that the state or the courts won't interpret it as also applying to these other things. But the language is pretty clear that it only applies to solar. It doesn't apply to wind power. It doesn't apply to hydro or anything else. So
Okay,
it's
All right.
really like about placing solar fields in floodplains would be the one thing that may be a concern.
okay.
Sorry.
All right, so, well, it sounds like you've taken a look at our bylaw already, for the solar parts.
Yeah,
so
I did a little bit of, I did a review this morning, in prep for this. So,
Okay,
but I haven't done a thorough review of it yet.
okay, yeah, so I appreciate that, number one. And, how would you like to proceed from this point, for, your review? Should we, continue writing something up, and check for updates on the model bylaw and that sort of thing, and then when we have all that information, pass it on to you and have you look it over?
Yeah, that works. What I've been doing with other communities is I've been asking the boards to designate a principal point of contact for me. So that way, if I have any immediate questions in between board meetings, I can reach out to them and they can either take it to the board and answer it, or they can answer it themselves. That just speeds it up so that we're not waiting, 30 days or however it is between meetings to get updates. And if you want, I'd be happy to take a look at what you have already drafted for the BESS, and incorporate that into my review as well. But it's up to you how you'd like to proceed.
Okay, all right, well, you know how to get me through the planning board email, so we'll correspond that way and work as best we can as the information trickles in, and hopefully put something together as efficiently as we can reasonably do it.
Excellent. And I'm not sure if you're aware but there's a series of webinars that are taking place this year. One of them happened yesterday, unfortunately. It actually happened today at noon. But the next one is in, I believe in June. And if you'd like, I can forward that email to you if you haven't seen it, if you're interested in signing up. And then again, we are also going to be having our regional dialogue with just our 40 communities are invited. We're going to be inviting planning board members and delegates to CMRPC to have a sit in on a presentation with ourselves and the regional coordinator for DOER. And again, there's going to be one in May, at the end of May, and the other at the beginning of June. As soon as we have signups for that, I'm going to be sending those out to anyone who's on our newsletter and also anyone that I'm directly working with on these projects.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. If you could pass this on. Were any of those webinars recorded?
That is a very good question. One of my colleagues went to it. I'll check with him tomorrow and find out if they said they were going to either hand out the presentation or a recording of the meeting.
Yeah, because I have reviewed some of the webinars in the past that preceded the first draft of the regulations. Yeah, yeah. So if you could get me the information on the next webinar, that would be helpful too. And we'll stay in touch. Anybody else have any comments, questions here?
No, not at this time.
Okay, all right. Well, I thank you, Ron. I appreciate your joining us this evening, and it's been a big help.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I look forward to working with you. Have a good
You
night.
bet. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
College that is included in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For the storage systems, the storage capacity has to be greater than 250 kilowatt hours. Anything?
It's, it's expensive for a homeowner to have batteries, so it's not as small as. Like a
No,
single,
and it's only installations that are on the outside of
Okay,
the meter, on the generation side of the meter. If it's on the homeowner's side of the meter, it doesn't apply.
it's not, okay,
Yes.
just curious.
So
about
that, it's like your toaster or mixer or
Okay.
whatever.
it. Yeah.
All right. So going back, we have the under old business, the zoning bylaw amendment on accessory dwelling units. This is the same text that I had used at the prior public hearing on that last year. Didn't change anything. And I had to resubmit it as an article for this year's town meeting. So I did that using the same text that I used last year. And have you seen this?
No.
Okay, so this, you can have this copy. It sort of outlines the changes. Most of it is addition. There's some strike through or strikeouts. And we need to set a public hearing for that so that it'll be official. Yeah.
Do we have to add that before the meeting, before the town meeting, ATM?
We have to have the public hearing before
Okay.
the ATM, before it's taken to a vote.
Yeah.
So,
That would only be May then, right?
right. I mean, it's
Because the town meeting is.
in June, yeah. And
Could be.
we've done these public hearings like earlier in the afternoon before the town meeting,
Yeah.
actually, in one case.
I remember that.
So, but we don't have to wait that long. So I would propose adding a public hearing for this zoning bylaw amendment to our next meeting in May, which would be May 6th. I already staked out that date on the calendar so we could get it back. Everybody happy with that? Okay, so we'll go along with that. And I'll get it set up for then and send out the notices to the surrounding towns and so forth. Okay. And then under new business, no further, any questions on that? Okay. No. Under new business, just to continue the Citizens Planner Training Collaborative annual conference that I went to. The part that Ron and I were discussing was the most valuable part, I thought, of what I saw there. I signed up for 3 different little seminars that they had. They were an hour and a half piece. And the one on the new Clean Energy Act was the most useful. So it imparted a lot of information, some of which I knew, some of which was a good update. There were 2 other pieces that I went to. One was, and they were both on housing, because I know housing has become a hot topic in the state. And it's only a matter of time before it becomes a topic around here too. And one was called State Land for Homes Initiative. So now I don't know what you all thought that would be if you read that. I thought that the state had some kind of initiative to develop land for homes somehow. In fact, it was an initiative to take abandoned state property and repurpose it for residential use. So they're thinking about things like, old office buildings and that sort of thing, none of which we have around here in this town. So we don't even have, well, I guess East Brookfield may still have the old trial court building on Route 9 that they could use, but that's not, we don't have anything like that anyway. So that wasn't particularly useful. And then the last unit I went to at the end of the day was called Getting the Housing We Need in the Locations We Want, which was great. I was there actually with a friend of mine who happens to be the chair of the Oakham Planning Board. And we sat right up front, and we were both prepared to be disappointed because most of what they had to say only applied to cities and suburban towns within the Route 495 corridor and east of that. So in other words, places that were built up, again, repurposing old downtown buildings and that sort of thing for housing. So it wasn't really worthwhile. But nevertheless, it was a good conference, and they got to meet a few people. I actually sat at breakfast with the planning board from Sturbridge, all of whom were there. So, and that's one of the big benefits of that meeting, is that you get to trade information with people and sort of in the same who have the same interests and concerns. Anyway, let me see. Financials. We had the expenditure reports for March 13 and 26 from the accountant. I compared those to the expenditure report from our last meeting. I found there was an additional, well, there's $250 more out of the planning board salary line, which I assume was your stipend.
Yes.
And then there was $6 more taken out in expenses. And I had to think about this. I can check with the account, but I think that was the shared expense for the copier here. Or the postage meter, or both. I don't know. So, but anyway, that would explain that. And I have a couple of expenses requesting reimbursement here to me for number one, the postage expense for the notices of the public hearing that we held tonight. Okay, that was $5.46. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reimbursement of $5.46 for the postage.
I'll make a motion to approve the reimbursement for postage expense for the 4/8/2026 public hearing of $5.46.
Okay. Any further discussion? That one? All in favor of that, please signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jedi,
And Kevin, I thank you. And then the other one is to reimburse my registration fee for that Citizen Planner Training Collaborative Annual Conference, fee of $105.
I'll make a motion to reimburse the $105 for the Citizens Planner Training Collaborative Annual Conference.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of that, please signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jedi.
And Kevin, I thank you.
Kevin, real quick.
Yeah.
That's $6. Shouldn't the town accountant be submitting an expense report for that?
I think it's an ongoing expense, so it's already been okayed sometime in the past.
Okay,
And we can get a detail from her that'll actually show it if
Yeah.
we want, because I did that.
I was just
The year
hating for
before
somebody
mine.
to be on the yellow sign for $6.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I can get a detail from.
Yeah, just so we're on the same page.
Okay. And we have some correspondence, from the Warren Planning Board. And they remember there was a, public hearing for, earth removal on Rivers Bend Road. They decided to approve that. And the approval was filed on March 11, so there's the approval, or the appeal date has already passed on that one. The Sturbridge zoning board of appeals has approved the tear down that was applied for at 21 Long Avenue. And they're going to build a bigger, or at least a new single-family home on the same site. And that was, let's see, that was approved March 19. So there's still the appeal window is still open on that. And then also from Sturbridge zoning board of appeals, there was the administrative appeal of the use of property at 20 Ponton Street. And the ZBA and Sturbridge decided to uphold the decision of the building inspector in that regard. And that was, that decision was taken on March 24. So the appeal period is still open on that as well. And then finally, in the ongoing saga of the road to nowhere, the stump of Quabog Street on Route 9, we have, then this was just an informational thing that came to me because we don't have to do anything, take any action on this, but Keith Realty has taken it upon themselves to pose a warrant article to have the town basically discontinue that way and authorize the planning board to remove the exterior lines from the official map of the town. And then the property will revert to the abutters.
So it didn't say who gets the property though. Couldn't find that. I read it like 3 times. It did.
Well, no, it
It
doesn't
just
say,
says they want to remove the way
right.
and it doesn't say what to do with it. So is it still town property at that point and just?
No, the town, if the town abandons it, then what happens is that unless one of the abutters files a motion to take all of it, it gets split between the people on either side.
Cause I know it, like one of the papers said like, and they get paid $0. The abutters both get paid $0, but it doesn't say they get to split the land. It doesn't, does it say that in the paper somewhere? My lawyer jargon didn't.
Yeah, no, I don't think it did, but.
Okay.
But in,
Cause I would think it would just mean, it would just take the town road out, meaning it's no longer a road, but it's still owned by the town.
yeah,
And then that brings my second question. If it's still owned by the town and it's still a town road, somebody's parking on a town road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. And the,
Not that I want
yeah,
anything
and
to
actually,
happen.
they're not there anymore.
They moved
Yeah,
to today?
well, I didn't see them when I drove by this morning, so.
Oh, I thought I saw
I thought I
the,
saw them this morning.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw them this morning.
Oh.
I'll have to double check.
Missed it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, but-
I think it's good to remove it from the town. And,
Mhm.
and I think it's good to sell the land or do whatever with it.
Yep.
I just didn't notice it in there and now it's kind of like, it's a step one. I like that.
Yeah.
Cause it's kind of weird that they still have that little swoop. If you look on one of the papers, it shows that right at the end, it shows the swoop of it. I might have deleted it.
Yep. Yeah,
It's kind of weird. The town would even leave it like that.
oh, here it goes, actually, I'm lucky. Said abandonment shall revest the title to the land or rights abandoned in the persons in whom it was vested at the time of the taking for the road, or their heirs and assigns. So it goes back to people who are on either side.
Well, it goes back to whoever land it was.
Right.
Well, it
Yeah.
goes back to the current owner.
To the
So
correct.
like, if the same person owns it as when it was taken, then they'll get it back. But whoever then owns the property, so like if you bought the property, it would go back to you. Half of it would go to you.
I forgot you to do this.
Yeah, yeah, she was just. Tell me what's going on.
So anyway, but that's just informational for us and the, as far as the map goes, we will, authorize it. I'm sure it'll go through another channel to Mass GIS. So, and that brings us to the end of the agenda. Sir, did you have a question?
I don't know what your rules and regulations out here, but I would like to speak to the topic of your solar and your battery stuff. You would allow me to?
Well, the public hearing was closed before you arrived. If you'd like to, I mean, we don't have any thing we can take action on at this time, but it is going to be on the warrant for the annual town meeting. So you may want to save your comments for them.
I was just hoping to provide a little bit of information. I don't know exactly what's going on in your town. I'll just say that I was on the solar bylaw committee in Spencer.
Oh.
And I've been dealing with solar since 2012, since they decided to plant a solar farm behind my house and clear 30 acres and so forth. So I have some knowledge I'd like to pass on, hopefully, that might be beneficial to you
Okay.
guys with your bylaw amendments and how these solar developers and the solar companies deal with the small towns and board members.
Oh, okay, so,
I'd like to hear from them,
Yeah.
especially because like it's the town, that part might be closed, but we still touched on it on the new business.
Okay.
With
Okay.
Ron Barrett.
Now,
No,
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version.
yeah,
But I'm more than willing to come back and speak to any of you, either privately or, over a cup of coffee or whatever, because I've learned a lot over the 12 years. I'm not an administrator,
Mhm.
but like I said, I was on the solar bylaw committee in Spencer.
if you don't mind, just can you come sit up here just so
Oh, sure.
we have a mic?
Sure.
So it's captured.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And your.
My
your
pleasure.
name.
Matt DeFosi at 7 Paul's Drive in Spencer. I was on the solar bylaw committee with 7 people. There were three residents and 4 people from the town administration that were on that. And we worked on the solar bylaw because we were getting saturated with solar for a year. And we presented a report to the board in town, and that was on August 8th, 2019. And I believe that's probably still online on the Spencer website. And I'll bring a copy up the next time I come, because I have a copy of that. We made several suggestions, some of them which were used, some of them which were ignored or disregarded, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Put the information out there. If you want it, you utilize it. Great. If you don't, that's up to you. But I'm just going to touch on a couple of quick subjects because it's as you know, it's very complicated and complex. Institute, if you could answer a couple of questions for me, just so I have an idea, how many commercial solar places do you have in town? Any?
3.
You have 3. We have, I haven't
Two
worked-
built- 2 built, 1 in construction.
okay. I haven't had, I haven't been dealing with this for a while because I dealt with it for years. So I've been out, I used to be able to recite all this stuff. But right now, I think we have 23 and a couple in the pipeline. Okay, so we were saturated and inundated with it. These guys would come to towns like this. They drop all this stuff in. We didn't have good bylaws or any bylaws or proper bylaws. And one of them told me, well, if you don't have anything that says you can't do it, we can do it. And that's how they proceeded. And they bring in me, I'm just a resident. They bring in lawyers, okay, to speak in my opinion, and I'm opinionated, to bully the town and the citizens and so forth. So, and that they try to circumvent a lot of things. And you guys did raise a couple of good questions on that in regards to, they're gonna tell you, you can't restrict us. Now, you know more than I do about this now, but the state is basically trying to take the decision-making about where these land and how you deal with them away from the small towns. They're gonna make the decisions out there. I don't know where that's gone so far, but I think that's a mistake. Who knows better about the town than the people in the town? I can talk to anybody for hours about this stuff. I'll bring in some more paperwork to hopefully help you guys out. And if you don't want the help or you don't want the information, or I bore you to death, tell me to take a hike. I don't mind. I'm just trying to be helpful. You mentioned some of the stuff in regards to solar. I'm talking about the solar development, and then I'll get quick to the batteries, but prime soils, wildlife, all kinds of things that come into play that are affected when they put these in. The solar panels, it's not worth recycling these things because it costs you more to recycle than they're worth. They don't have a good disposal method. The town, in my view, is going to be stuck with them. It's going to be like asbestos was. You got to package them up, you got to ship them, and so forth. One of the things that I tried to fight for and got blown away on is they're talking about stormwater and that type of thing, and they're saying that the panels are pervious. Now, I look up pervious, it says water can go through unimpeded. In my view, solar panels are not pervious. Now, how that affects what you guys do and the way you go about it, they're going to hammer you with lawyer speak and all this other crap. But I fought for that and got kind of pushed to the side. But I would say they're not pervious, which affects, the calculations for stormwater and stuff.
We never had anybody make that claim to us.
Well, but there's probably a lot of stuff that's never happened, but trust me, they know how to go about it. You go to meetings, they don't discuss things, or you ask them questions about their own projects. Oh, I don't know that. They don't answer. We'll get back to you on that. They never do. And as a resident, and like I said, just Joe Schmo, I'm going, geez, these guys can't even tell you about their own project. So what other kind of BS are they shoveling? In our town, it's not considered commercial, or it wasn't considered commercial. So they can purchase the land cheaper than if they had to buy commercial property to put these things on, whether it's batteries or solar. They cleared behind my house. They cleared. This is what got me started on it behind my house. And I fought with them since 2012. It only got put in a couple of years ago. But they claim that it's good for the environment. They cleared 25, 30 acres, which creates a hotspot, disrupts wildlife, stormwater, and so forth. As they know, and you'll find out, I don't know how long it would take you to implement and pass a bylaw. That's to their advantage because you guys write it up, you put it in play, and then to get it passed, while you're doing that, they're moving right ahead. We did a lot of work on the bylaw. The cut and paste is tough because if you move stuff, you'll know it. You kick down one door, another door opens, so you cut and paste from other bylaws or other information you have, and now it affects all these other things. And I'm sure in your dealings, you'll find out. I'm going to go real quick. The Dover Amendment, I don't recall off the top of my head because it's been a while. The Dover Amendment, I think, had to deal with, that was one of the things that was a peeve for me, what had to do with religious use. And there was some other thing in there that I fought about. And again, they just, with that thing, but I think you can have a fight in there about location and them being allowed to, put them where they want, zone them and so forth. Another big thing, at least for me, is your taxes are going to go up. Your taxes are going to go up. Your all taxes are going to go up. All these solar farms, guess what? their solar farms depreciate. And they're subsidized. Why are we paying $1 million companies, $1 billion companies to put these in if it's so lucrative? I haven't seen my electricity bill go down either, and we got 23 of them in town. So they can BS a lot. And again, they send the lawyers in. You know, I graduated high school. They're sending lawyers in to fight about that stuff. Why? A lot of money. That's why. They make a lot of money. And I'll summarize that. I'm going to give you some information that I compiled. This is just a little, I got a room full of paperwork that's just in disarray. I'll give that to you. There's some good information in there. And I would just ask a question. When do you guys plan on having a rough draft of your bylaw? Or do you have any estimated time?
Hopefully we would have it by September.
Would I be able to get a copy of that and just go through it and give it back to you? And like I said, you can read it and throw it out, whatever you want to do with it, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be helpful here with the stuff that I've learned over the years, and I'm not shy about voicing my opinion. And it's an uphill fight in the wind with these guys.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say, not to be disrespectful, but we've had a lot of dealings with CMRPC in our town. And in my view, I don't think they worked as hard as they should have, or they were really great at what they did as far as these issues were concerned, because I would go to the meetings and listen to the representative like you were online, and I'm going, geez, God, it doesn't seem like they put too much work into it. I think I did more work than they did in regards to that. So just a comment. I'm going to present this to you. It's up to you guys. I appreciate it. I think there's good information. I have a couple articles to the newspaper, which covers a lot of the issues that I'm not going to speak to tonight.
Okay.
And there's an article in here from, I think it was the Worcester paper from Clark University Research in regard to solar. I didn't touch a lot on the batteries, but I went to a couple conferences out at Anna Maria College about lithium batteries. We went out in our research, we went out to Sterling. They have solar out there and saw their trailers full of batteries. You got thermal runaway. With those things, there's hundreds of batteries, basically Connex boxes, but it's a trailer truck full of hundreds of them.
Yeah.
They're coming usually from China. Improper installation, they get damaged, something like that. You got a major problem on your hand, outgassing, so forth. Whatever they claim they're going to put in there to extinguish a fire. Now you have other chemicals involved, and with your groundwater, the air pollution, the neighborhoods, and
I
so
like
forth.
this guy.
So I'm going to leave it at that, because I know I sat on the committee and I know how this is. Everybody wants to get out of here, but I'll give you my phone number. I think Michael has it. I talked to the clerk. He told me you guys were going to be here tonight. He's got my phone number. It might be in there.
Yep.
You can call the town, or I'll just give you my number. Anyone of you can call me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about that.
All right, yeah, why don't you just write it down where you signed in.
Yeah, right on the sign-in paper, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
that'd be the best,
Okay.
that'd be the best thing. That needs to be all.
And I use my real name too.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
I'll let you know, the solar battery storage that we approved gave us a lot of jargon about their fire protection system, that's what I do for a living, and it was all BS.
Yeah, exactly. But see, the biggest problem with, and you can kick me out anytime, I get kicked out of some pretty good places. The problem with that is, what they don't tell you is probably more dangerous than what they do tell you. And a lot of the times they don't present the information. And when I started, I didn't know a damn thing about this stuff. And it's what you don't know that kills you. Okay, not you personally, but the people that they're dealing with. They do it all the time, so they know how to manipulate it, they know how to work it, they know how to mold it, so it sounds good, but you're getting it shows. So I hope that's helpful to you, and like I said, I'm more than happy to help you guys in any way I can. When would you next be meeting in regards to this kind of stuff?
Well, our next meeting is May 6th.
Okay.
Here at 6:30. I don't know if that's going to be an item on the agenda
Okay.
for that time, because it's just.
Well, that would be online, right? I mean, your agenda's online, I know that much.
Yep, yeah, and we're usually the first Wednesday of the month. We get bumped up
What is that, first Monday?
first Wednesday.
First Wednesday?
Yeah, we get bumped back to
Okay.
by select board. But
And
yeah, and we'll try and get ahead of that.
Okay. Well, I'll try to pay attention, and like I said, you got my number. I'm more than happy to come, and I can be a bad guy if you're dealing with the developers or whatever, because I'm not afraid to voice my opinion. And sometimes you're in a precarious position where, you know, if you speak, it's a little difficult. So,
Appreciate your time,
thank
sir.
you. I appreciate you hearing me out.
Thank you for your interest. I really appreciate that.
Well, I know how it affected me, my family, and my neighborhood, because they planted it in a rural residential area and they wiped out the forest. And since they put that in, I haven't seen a deer, a turkey, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So, and it's good for the environment. And you raised good questions about the windmills too. They're burying the blades. Guess they can't reuse them.
Nope.
So
It's all fiberglass.
I'm a little up to date on some of the stuff, but anyway, thank you for letting me bore you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank
you're welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:16 PM.
All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying your name and I.
Steve, I.
Chris, I.
Jen, I.
And Kevin, I. Okay, thank you all very much.
You think so? Yeah. Well, I gotta get up to snuff on this. I got a little bit of time. Thank you. Good night, Lisa.
Maybe we just got one or, I don't know, but we just had, I think we treasure rate one, but.
Yeah.
That is covering it.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
But I think their paperwork, it's probably just their degree process, I think they did mine, and they didn't get yours quite yet.
Yeah.
They probably submitted it like a couple days after they were.
Okay. I didn't, well, I just, I got it off with Mike and I just, I guess, just want to make sure that like they got to what they're doing, and get lots and everything.
I think we're gonna go now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
You too.
So there was interest on this public hearing, Kevin.
From unexpected corners.
Yeah.
Two more. Yeah, she is. She is.
Best friends since we were 4 years old.
I snowed her out one day. It wasn't much, but